Welcome to Lifestyle with Lintott, the top podcast for wellness, corporate health, and living your best life. Today, I have the honor of interviewing Patrick Tremont, who has taken off in his own podcast, Just Curious with Patrick Tremont. Not just that, Patrick exudes health, joy, and living your best life. He has been happily married for 7 years and also is a successful businessman, and he's committed to the arts. He is a former drag performer and also just a beautiful light in our community. And I want to thank you, Patrick, from the bottom of my heart for connecting and sharing your wisdom here. We're going to be covering living your life to its fullest potential through more love, more happiness, more health and success, right? Who doesn't want that? So I'm really excited to have you on the show, Patrick. Thank you so much. And I'd love to just hear more. Thank you. And Patrick is actually the reason why I started this podcast after we did a show together. And he is really a really great encourager out there. And he has people in 25 countries now following him and listening in. So I just love to invite you, Patrick, to share more about yourself, your journey, your story.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so glad. After that introduction, what do I say? What can I do? So thank you so much. You were very kind. And thank you for having me on. And I'm so glad and so honored to be on here and to be part of your podcast and helping you get there, So thank you for saying that. I do appreciate it.
Definitely, it's an honor. And what I really love about the work that you do, Patrick, is you are so authentic to who you are. I know when your podcast first started out, it was about being real and raw, right? And it's exploded. Now it's about being just curious. You've invited celebrities from across the world onto your show. You've done some great work, and it's really manifested, and of course, a following, but it's also manifested in your own body, your own life, right? Like attracting true love, getting into your healthiest body. And I'd love to know more about that story. Maybe if we could even zoom back and we could talk more about why living fully is so important to you and getting everything out of this journey that we call life.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is a journey. It's like taking a long train, right? You're going from one station to station. It's almost cathartic. You got to get there and then end up there. So I have definitely, a friend of mine kind of got me started on the podcast and said that he thought I'd be great with it. But then when I did it, I just kind of took it and ran with it. And then I knew that whenever I had, started the podcast and had done it, and I just went balls to the wall with it, and I just went full force. When I did, I wanted to have the experiences on the podcast, not just for entertainment, but to also help other people. I thought that was very important to me. And it's very important to have people to be inspired and to be loved. And no matter who they are or anything whatsoever, it's important to have encouraging thoughts and encouraging people to do better in their own lives. And if my podcast brings entertainment and joy or information or anything whatsoever, then I feel like I've kind of done my job. And I never knew in the beginning how far this would go. And I was just right here in, Southeast Texas, and had a lot of listeners from the beginning. But then it kind of, when I got my analytics in for the first month, and then on the 6 months, and then on the 10 months, it started going from there. And I just have listeners now in 26 countries. So I had just gained another new country recently. So it's like I just have listeners from, all over the world. And I'm very proud of that. It's been a lot of hard work, and you just got to keep motivated and you got to keep going, even when you feel like you are just hit a wall and you're trying to still be creative and you're trying to still stay relevant, with this, because podcasts, there's millions of them across the globe. And a lot of them, 50% of them don't even last in the first 6 months or 1 year. And so now with the podcast here being a year and a couple of months old, I'm very proud of that, because I've kind of kept working and kept going with it. And so, and then how the celebrities even happened was I just would reach out to them on social media. And I was surprised that they were like, oh, so if you get one, and then they kind of know that, one of them came on your show, then they kind of trust you, and it's really about building trust and a relationship. And so finally, whenever I landed one of my more famous celebrities, I guess you could say, that really took off and has been wonderful. So, and some of them don't want to do a podcast. I've been turned down just twice. Out of all the ones I've done, I've only been turned down twice, and it's only because scheduling conflicts, or they're on the set doing a movie, or they're like, I would like to do a podcast, but I've done so many interviews. Let me just see where it goes. And I need you to bring it to something different, because they get asked the same stuff, over and over. So I'm currently working on a celebrity interview that I'm doing, but I definitely do not want this particular person who's been on a lot of TV shows we know and is currently working on one right now on the set. And I don't want to reveal the name, but they're just like, I need you to not ask me about this or that, so we're messaging back and forth. And I find that the most thrilling and awesome challenge, because I could be that one person that's going to be asking them something that is different compared to, what's your next movie, or what's it like on set, or how is she as an actress, that same old stuff. So it's fun to find those particular celebrities that are doing that. So I'm kind of working on one right now, but I've been very, very blessed and appreciative to all of the listeners and to all of the people. I sound like Mommy Dearest. Have you ever seen that movie with Joan Crawford? She goes, all of my fans, I thank you all. But anyway, go back and find it. It's funny. But no, I really am appreciative to all of the listeners and staying with me throughout this process and enjoying all my shows, because I get a lot of feedback. So I love it. So I've been very blessed, for sure.
That's wonderful, and it's well deserved. I just love your energy and how it is truly authentic, right? And it comes back to the saying I offer to people, like, done is better than perfect, right? And I know in my own story, I started going online big back when COVID began in 2020. And I know a big part of it, and for many people out there, whether it is in your business, right? It is in your love life, it's putting yourself out on the dating apps, it's meeting people in the wild, right? Is overcoming perfectionism, right? And then in our school systems, a lot of the times we're taught that, like, perfect is the best, right? When you wait and wait and wait and you write that paper and you submit it after it's perfect, that is the way to go. And if that paper kind of is in the same format as everyone else's, right? And we're kind of taught sometimes to lose our creativity. And I know when I just saw my baby niece and nephew when my sister was visiting from Santa Cruz, and I'm all about playing, right? Like, we were playing with a unicorn and we were cleaning it in the sink. And my baby niece was all into this unicorn. She was telling me we needed to clean it more. Like, it wasn't clean enough. And she created this entire narrative. And 95% of children are highly creative. When you get to adults, that percentage goes down to around 1% to 2%, right? It goes lower and lower and lower. And we're in the age of imagination. We're in the age when you being real and raw and imperfect is actually valued, right? No one wants to see that touched up picture with that AI written post, right? Rather, people really want to see, like, who the hell you are, right? And so I think that's so great with what great work that you do. But for the people out there that, and this includes myself, of course, I'm not perfect. Like, in launching my own podcast about a month ago, in doing these great things with Nordstrom, with wellness, with these different companies, and stepping to this whole new identity, right? What words of wisdom do you have for people out there that might be struggling with trying to A, blend and do what they see, or B, I'm going to wait until everything's perfect before I go for it and text that celebrity or whatever it is and invite them to speak with me? Because you never know, they might just say yes, right? So right. What words of wisdom do you have for them as they become real and raw?
Like in life in general, or like the creative process, or a podcast, or just anything?
I think in life in general, as you've skyrocketed in your podcast, so like of course business wise, and then if you could touch upon too, like the love life thing, because many clients are manifesting love as
Okay.
well.
Well, I'll tell you this, going into anything creative, you should just go right into it. You should not have any boundaries. Why chain yourself up to one particular thing? You have to be able to explore life and to be out there and to be yourself. And it's not going to always be everybody's cup of tea, so to speak. Not everybody's going to agree with you or see it as your vision. But if you are just true to yourself and you are just being genuine and you are a really kind person, you kind of just go into it, and then people are just going to when they believe you're authentic is, I can't even say the word right now. Let me get some. Go ahead. See, real and raw. When you're authentic and they see that from you. And by the way, this is Fresca. This is not this is not wine.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know. It's I'm not that cool, but anyway, so no, but really this is whenever you're really approaching something that you're wanting to do, you are very authentic in the way that you feel and with everyone, then everyone believes you and believes in you. And then you're able to sit there and be successful because you are just being true to yourself. And I think, and you hit a point earlier, that's what people want to see. They don't want to see the polished up pictures. And I do not normally ever, if you ever, and I know you see my social media, but it's like the pictures are, I might have an eyebrow out of place or a little hair or something. And yeah, I can go in there and take that out. But it's really about just being true to you and being true to the public. Because when you are that person, they see that. They believe in you. You believe in them. And they want to be part of your life. And they actually genuinely want to be part of your journey. And that's what's important. It's not necessarily, my whole thing about the podcast is not necessarily, I didn't go into it saying I want to be famous and I need to be this, or I have to land this and I want that. I'll say this, who wouldn't enjoy that or wouldn't want it, right? But if those things happen in life, I'm fine. Then, hey, that's great. But I'm fine where I'm at. And that's what people need to understand. You have social media now. Everybody's trying to be an influencer and you're trying to get out there. I do believe in posting and branding yourself. It's very important to have this kind of connection with people. We're a visual society now. It's not like in the old days when you have the radio and you're listening to a soap opera, then TV comes and then you have to get there at 7:00 at night to watch The Love Boat, which of course is one of my favorite shows. But but honest, I'm such a nerd sometimes. But it's really about just being you and doing the visuals and being part of what is actually happening now. You have to move with the times. You have to be able to brand yourself and you have to be able to go with what the next big thing is. And that's how you stay relevant. So right now, all of us are on social media, including yourself. We're posting photos, we're posting our lives and our trips, and we're sharing our innermost feelings. And yes, we could be very selfish. And in a way, it seems a little bit egotistical, but we are doing something different. I'm not doing it just for the likes or the loves or the comments or the whatever. I'm really doing it because I felt a certain way back in my life growing up, where I wasn't really giving enough attention or the things I craved. And I needed those kind of role models to kind of help guide me in some sort of way. So I'm not trying to put myself in the category of a role model. I'm sure you're not either, but both of us have the same mission that a lot of people that are out there right now on social media are doing. They want to be the influencer. They want to be popular. They want to be whatever. That's great for us too, but the actual sole purpose of doing this is to have a connection with someone. And if we can change one person's day or one person's thought or educate one person out of the thousands and thousands of people that listen to us and are there with us, then I've done my job. You know, I mean, at my age, I'm middle-aged. At my age already, I've kind of lived what I would say, and what many people who know me say, you've lived already another person's life. I mean, you've done everything. I've been, it seems like, everywhere. And I still have another half of my life to go, which I'm on a great journey right now. So that's what really all this really means to me about. And then you and I talking right now, someone will watch this and hopefully they're inspired to create their own new journey in their own life. Need it be with exercise, podcast, writing a book, doing something. But my advice, I think I don't know, I hope I covered your question, but my advice really about creativity is not to shut the doors on yourself. Don't close the door. Don't, listen to anything on a negative side. You're going to get feedback from strangers, family, friends, people that are going to believe in you, but then they're also going to have that kind of like, because it's not necessarily what they would do or what they understand about it. So I call it and I know I'm going to catch shit for this, but it's, to me, and I've heard it from other people, it's called the Hollywood effect. You got the stars in your eyes and you're trying to do this or do that. And it's like my vision is not glazed over by any of this. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly who I am, and I know exactly the message I want to get out there. So if I'm there and I'm attracting attention to people to watch the podcast or listen to it or be part of anything on my journey, then hey, if I have to pose or flash a boob, I don't care what it is. But honestly, it's all in good fun. And honestly, when you attract that kind of attention, people, good or bad, is going to give you feedback, but you have to know actually, who you are, and you got to stay true to that.
Wow, you brought up so many good, juicy points. For me, a lot of this goes back to energy too. Like the world is your mirror. So like whatever energy you give out, you're going to get that reflected right back in. And it also got me thinking about how now, especially post-COVID, where we have spent the majority of our time interacting online with just 2 of the 5 senses, that we've experienced a decrease amongst some people in terms of empathy, right? That's what been shown to have an adverse effect on empathy when you are on social media a lot. Number 2, we've seen a decrease in the United States in people's trust in one another, right? Maybe people have been scammed, maybe they've been betrayed in some sense. And you're seeing now, as people come back and gather at family gatherings, things are not the same as they were pre-2020, right? And so like a lot of this is so important because we can't live behind our phones forever, right? There's the reality of what happens offline versus what is online. My focus and what I do is that my life offline is actually better than my life online, right? And so like I was just telling you, like I'm going to Lovers and Friends this weekend with some friends from back in the day from my master's, and we were just texting and planning out our outfits and doing all these great things. If I'm not happy, if I'm not feeling it, whether it is my free time, what I do on my weekends, or it's what I'm doing with my work, right? Of what I'm doing with wellness, what I'm doing in yoga, you notice it manifests in my life. And I know when I used to ignore my energy and just push through it and continue to make the posts, continue to do those things, go on the dates, it wasn't working out, right? I've had the opposite experience though when I do love myself, right? In order to attract clients, in order to attract love, like you were mentioning, you have to know who the hell you are. You have to know what you want. And also you have to love yourself and be okay with being on your own, right? Being single, having that person tell you no, like you were saying. And we're in this time when we are very, very, very visible, right? It's no longer a time when I can be one way with you, Patrick, and then flip it and be a chameleon, totally different, right? Any one of my clients could pull up a live, right? I was actually at a party with some of my clients who are tend to be older adults, and I found out one of them, she had watched all my dance videos on TikTok. And I was like, great, okay, hey, like there's no hiding my dance videos. And she
Wait a
thought they were
minute,
really
you
funny,
have
so
dance
it's fine.
videos on, you have
Yes,
dance
I
videos on
do.
TikTok? I must have missed these.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so check it out. But it got me thinking about building that trust and how quality is better than quantity. So some people are chasing likes, they're chasing number of views, what have you. The thing is, if something goes viral, people just see that it goes viral, then they scroll on to the next viral thing, right? That's I know I was reading an article about there are issues with TikTok because it makes your mind think that you are in flow state, so you keep scrolling, kind of like when you're exercising, kind of like when you're getting a lot of work done, but all you're doing is scrolling, right? And you're going to the next 15-second video, which is different than this conversation we're having, which we're going really deep. It's kind of like you're hanging out with us, right? But it got me thinking about the importance of finding that quality match, that one match. Like it's just like dating, right? You just need to find one. Unless you're polyamorous, maybe you're going to find a couple. That's cool too. But the same goes with like being adaptable. Like we don't want to turn out like Kodak and act like this digital world is going away and go out of business, right? And so the same goes with like what you're doing in your business. I'm constantly pivoting what I'm doing. I'm constantly doing the inner work so that I can be a better consultant, right? So I just want to know any of your perspective on any of that. Yeah.
Okay, like on love life?
On I think the first thing that came to mind for me was like trust, like how to build that trust with one another and have people see, especially like when people are putting themselves out there for business, for love,
Yeah.
that they're in it for the collective, right? It's not just about manipulation or these other things people may have assumed because they had a bad experience with someone, like whatever it is. Yeah.
Right. Well, I tell you what, how you build up on trust is just to, like I said before, just be your authentic self. And if you're in the dating world, when I had, I've always basically had long-term relationships, but I was single for a hot minute, so, but whenever I was in the dating world, you just kind of go into it being authentic and just being yourself. And you just kind of like, this is probably it's a good quality, but it could be a bad quality too that I have myself. And I kind of go into everybody as trusting them. I'm like, until you prove me otherwise, I don't care about anybody else. I don't care what anybody says or whatever. How you treat me is how I judge someone or how I feel, that I build my relationships with. So that's how I kind of go into things. And whenever you're involved, and if you're single, and whenever I was single, I would just kind of go in on these dates and I would just be myself and have a good time. And I didn't take things so seriously, and I think that's where people right now, a lot of people, straight or gay or anything, they are looking for love and they want to settle down and they want to be in a committed relationship, but they're going about it, in my opinion, the wrong way. I see and I hear so many people in my life. I have, girlfriends, boyfriends, and all this stuff that say to me all the time, they're like, I want to be in a relationship, or I want to do this or that or whatever. And my thing is, don't go into it with that mindset. Go into it like, this is the moment, this is what's happening. And if they are interested in you, they're going to stick with it. There's going to be an honest chemistry that's going to spark and that's going to have something. So if you have that type of chemistry with someone, then it's got to naturally just kind of build, and then you become friends, and then you become lovers, but in my case, okay, in my case, it's not always the case. I have always known myself. I'm very self-assured in many cases, in most ways, but I do have my own insecurities. But it's like when I'm going into a relationship, like in my last relationship with my husband, when we were just dating, we both were at that place where we knew what we wanted and we knew that we wanted to be in a relationship. So we lucked up in finding each other because we kind of went into it just, casual and talking and stuff. But then we realized, I realized, oh, he's looking for a relationship as well, because I already told him I was. And I mean, within seconds, we were communicating that same way. And not everybody is, and it's okay. And so that's where I tell my friends, look, I was lucky to be finding someone after, for a long period of time of being single or whatever, that I ran and found someone, ran into someone, him. We were at, I think it was I wouldn't say the second gay pride we have here in Texas. And we just kind of ran into each other, met each other. And then after that, we started communicating on Messenger and texting. And, it just has a natural flow. But the thing is that not everybody is looking for love at the same time you are. So if you're single, my advice is that if you're single, go just be yourself, and the right person will come along, the right person will be there. And when that happens, it would be genuine and it will be sincere, and their heart's in the right place. And like I said, that's what happened with my husband and I. It was instant connection and chemistry. And to be honest, when I say that, I don't mean to be cliche, but it really was like that. It was an instant sort of thing. But I mean, within a few days, we were already just like on our first date, really getting connected, really learning about each other. And so I've been very, blessed to find, a partner like that. But you also have to build on the foundation of friendship. And I think that a lot of people rush into it. They're like, I'm going on these 2 dates this weekend, and I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna be perfect, and I'm not saying anything. I'm not gonna do anything because I want to get someone and I want to have a happily ever after. But to me, that's just not being real, and it's not being, yourself. And I think that the other person reciprocating that can honestly understand and see that, because if you're just like if you're acting like a clam and you're not being, yourself, then I think people can kind of feel there's a wall or they're closed up. And nowadays, everything is so visual. That's why I think whenever people are on these dating apps and they're doing all this stuff, it's not the same anymore. It might have been great 10 years ago, but nobody cares about, at least nobody I know. And I know a lot of people, and I talk to a lot of people during podcasts, before the podcast is recorded. We're talking about this stuff. They're like, the dating apps are so whatever, because everybody gets on there and they lie, most everybody. That's not sincere. So now everybody's kind of doing this, and then you can it's almost like as if you're on a date on a FaceTime or a Zoom call, for instance. You can kind of right now just kind of get to know people by doing this kind of stuff. Our world has evolved from what it used to have, the chivalrous man open up the door and have this kind of qualities. We're not there anymore in our society. We're not. Things are so different now. Things are fast forward. I'm getting right to the camera now. It feels like it's so so important. No, things are so fast forward now that we've lost the communication with people as a human being. And that's why I say, whenever my husband and I go and we do date night or whatever, I'm like, put down the phone. I don't want to look at the phone. I don't want you to look at the phone. Turn them off. Do whatever you have to do. I want the communication here. Even though we're at home and I'm making lasagna, doesn't count. Sometimes you need to be out of your environment and get someplace else with no communication whatsoever and just have a regular, genuine talk. I don't care what it's about. And I miss those days of that, because I am an older gentleman, and I miss the days of when you didn't have social media and you didn't even have cell phones, so then you were forced to communicate and sit there and eat, at a restaurant or on the couch or whatever. Now everything is just hyper crazy out there with all this. So my advice to the ones that are in love or want to find love is, go fast forward in believing that you are at the right place at the right time, and love will be there. If it's genuine and sincere, that person will be sitting across from you or contacting you or being in your element, and they're going to go with you on that journey. So, and then it will happen. It just has to happen. You can't force it.
Wonderful. Yes, agreed. And a big thing I've noticed for me has been doing that shadow work. And there are different words for this, but I know there's the Luke that was unhealthy, that was drinking a lot, that was bigger, that was, I want to Accutane, like my skin was all bad. All these things happened, and I've grown to embrace my shadow, right? Because otherwise, if you don't embrace that shadow and love that shadow and love all parts of who you are, that's going to manifest, right? It doesn't matter how fit and hot and wealthy you get, right? You'll always have that experience, oh my God, of if you're pushing it down, if you're hiding, right? And now we're in this time, right, where it will bubble up. And I will say, similar, so just going off of what you were talking about with dating, I am in the dating world. I've gone on dates, by the way, where I have gotten stood up on dates. Who knows why, right? It's not that hard to tell someone hey, don't come to the place. I don't think we're a good match. I have had experiences with wonderful people, right? I would have never have met, these hugely, like you're saying, influencers and people of that nature that are very visible, right? I even had this one experience with someone who I would say is probably infamous rather than famous, right? And that went south because I'm a light and I can't be with someone who's going to, in some sense, subtract that light and take me down to the darkness, right? And so I've had all these wonderful experiences, but I do love what you said about how being in person is important. Energy never lies, right? And that's why I've been really focusing, whether it is businesses, love, meeting people in the wild, making contact with someone that I find attractive, just talking with someone that I vibe with, right? Which is so different oftentimes than when we see someone on a dating app. We might not know their intention. Like you said, we might not know timing. Are they looking for a hookup or are they looking for true love? So I think that's a really important thing to bring up with people is your intentions in terms of the relationship. And then also we're in this time, Patrick, that it's, they call it, with a lot of, especially younger adults, we have a big cancel culture, right? Someone says something wrong, they do something. It's really easy to block and delete them and to just move on and go back to the app and find someone who meets all of your filters, right? So there's the yin and the yang to that. It's beautiful in some sense because you're able to peacefully detach maybe a lot easier than you used to be able to when you actually had to tell someone to their face you didn't want to see them again or whatever it was. Now it's so much easier, right? To not interact with them and actually make it harder for them to see you, right? But then it's created this divisiveness in our society, right? And it's also, especially in the LGBT community and all communities, like we were saying, it's also created this world based off of looks, based off of your number of followers, based off of these things that really, at the end of the day, when we're together for a lifetime, those don't really matter, right? The three components to a successful relationship are shared values, personality, and also supporting each other's goals, right? It doesn't have anything to do with how good we look on Instagram together, even though that's a big focus for so many people. And these other things also, income beyond. But I'm curious, in terms of your perspective on that cancel culture that has become so normalized, when you or your partner or someone that you love screws up, what's a good way to address it? And maybe there are times when it is good to block, delete, and peacefully detach. When do we draw the line? And what is your reaction?
With just people in general, or relationship?
For people out there that are kind of on the fence, they're I want to be real and raw like Patrick, and I want to speak my truth, but I'm not sure if I should interact with this person because they just don't align with who I am. And if I do, how should I? Or if I should just it's easier to just block, delete, move on, space for more people. Where do you draw the line?
Well, you know what? My theory on that is that this cancel culture thing is so easy. You know what that is? It's just being disposable. Who wants to be disposable? Who wants to just dispose someone so quick? And that's not the way I was raised. I think actually that's kind of fucked up. That means that you don't care about the person that you were once communicating with. Now, if I know that there's boundaries to these things and there's limits to it. I'm not saying a psycho needs all of your attention and you need to kind of counsel them. No, but I'm saying that nowadays, if you don't like something, it's no different than food. Okay, you take a bite of something. We've done it since we were kids. I don't want to eat my spinach. Take a bite. You take a bite, the kid spits it out and gives it to the dog. It's easy to be disposed, and it's easy to dispose of something or someone, especially now. And to me, that's a problem, because that means that we are not learning anything ourselves. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And I think, and I sound like an old man when I say this, but it's like the younger generation who's been brought up and being taught this type of behavior is not getting it. When you're older, you start to realize that this is really not good behavior to sit there and just say, oh, Aunt Joan she's crazy. Don't invite her to Thanksgiving. She's a drunk. We're canceling her out. We're letting her go. We're casting her away because we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to have that problem, right? But and that's maybe a bad example, but it's actually a very honest example, because we're talking about a human that needs guidance or help. If she drinks too much, maybe she needs some counseling, maybe she needs something, or maybe she's done all that. Okay, poor Aunt Joan. I don't know who she is. If you have an Aunt Joan out there, I'm sorry, I'm sure she's wonderful, but it's honestly, people need to feel loved. And we don't share enough of that kind of stuff in this world anymore. Everything is so disposable. You yourself are disposable. And in corporate America, everyone is replaceable. And that's what people don't understand. I've got this, I've got that. I'm job security. My ass is covered on this or that in the world. I can do this. My family is this and that and whatever. No, actually, you're just another blip underneath the stars here, like the rest of us. And some of us have better luck in life and some of us do not. But the ones who do have a little bit of privilege, or the ones who do have a little bit of luck, need to have a better way of communicating with other people, and saying, why are you behaving this way? Because, depending on what the situation is. So if going on cancel culture, if it's so easy to do that, I don't want to ever just get rid of a friend or a person that I feel that we have a connection as a friend. I'll just say friendships. If you're doing that and you have this, or a coworker or whatever, it's easy to say, nope, don't want to hire them. Nope, don't want to be that person's friend. Nope, I just don't have the time for this. It's easy to do that because we're self-gratifying at the moment. We're not really learning anything. And we're not really helping other people. Some people need to be taught that their behavior is not really acceptable and it's not really cool. Hey man, be cool. That's it. It's not a big deal. Okay, our friendship is not based on this. So why am I getting that certain energy from you? Because the kind of energy I want is the kind of energy I exude. So I need you to match me up. See you tomorrow for lunch. Very simple communication. And not everybody can do that. Now, I have big balls. I'm sitting there and I will tell anybody anything at any time. I'm not rude. And I try to be very compassionate, but I am a person that is like, hey, look, that's not cool. And if you're going to be part of my friendship or part of my life, and I'm bringing you around other people, then I need you to have that same, you ain't got to kiss ass and you ain't got to kiss the ring, but I need you to be somewhere on the same team here, because I believe in you. I believe in your friendship that you have with me. So before I introduce you to the rest of the crew, I need to know that we're good and that you can be good with others. And you ain't gotta be perfect. And you don't have to like everyone, but I will not tolerate anybody being rude. I just won't do it in my life. I don't have that. And I won't accept that. So you can tell me, hey, I don't really care for Margaret, fine. Okay, you ain't got to be around her. So anytime I'm doing something with Margaret, I want to invite you. That's fine. But I love who she is. And then also kind of taking it to another place with cancel culture, it's so easy to scroll and everybody wants their 5 minutes and everybody wants this type of thing in their life, right? But it's work. And it's something that some people can just be on, an influencer and they get paid and they do those things. It doesn't happen for everyone. It just does not. Trust me. And so, and like this podcasting, what you're doing, the education you have, the background you have, the places you've traveled, the people you have rubbed elbows with, Luke, the places you have taught yoga is no small feat. It is you have to have that drive and that ambition. But besides that, you also have to have that good energy. People don't want to hire someone if you don't have the good energy. You might be smart, but if you're an asshole, nobody wants that in their business. Nobody wants to hire you. Nobody wants that. They want people with good energy. They want people that they can believe in and trust and be a leader. They want somebody that can lead not just themselves or one person. They want to bring, how are you as a community person? And so that's who I feel that I was kind of, I was brought up very alone in my childhood. I was always alone a lot. So when I got older and I started making my own decisions and got away from the powers that be growing up, then I was able to say, I know what I want. I want my own little family. I want my own people that I'm choosing, not because a bloodline. That's, you kind of have to be, in the family, like the mafia, you kind of have to be in the bloodline, and that's just life. But what's even sweeter though, families are great and not everybody's perfect. But what I have always thought was even better for me was chosen family and people that you choose to be in your life. And now I've got a great family surrounding me. I have a great family now, and I love them, and we're all good. But I just feel like whenever you surround yourself with people that have your same ideals, that have your same energy, that you are whatever, you're choosing to create your own little family, especially in the gay community, in the LGBT. And this is where I'm kind of sort of getting this from when I say chosen family. When you're in this community, you may not always agree, but they're your brothers and sisters. They are the ones that you're with. They're the ones who understand you, even when your own blood don't, So they've kind of taken that ride with you on the journey of being, different or being gay or whatever, and really going through those struggles, and also trying to set an example too, because not every person in the LGBT community is out there raising a ruckus like you might see on the news, or you might whatever. It's stereotyping, and that's what pisses me off in this world. We get boxed in and stereotyped so much. Not everybody out there is getting laid, trust me, and they think that the gays are out there like, oh, everybody, if you're one of them, you're getting laid all the time. Well, no, you're not. And I know so many people that are such good community activists, that are on charity boards, that have successful businesses and have successful partners and relationships and have adopted children, and they don't get recognized. They're not put to the forefront. They're not put out there where they're setting an example, you know. And recently, which there's a commercial right now that's on TV where it had some drug or whatever to prevent whatever. You see the two gay men kissing on there or whatever, and then you see the other guy at the train, you know, and the other guy's like, yeah, you know, why is that important to the people who created this commercial? I'm not like that. I know a lot of my friends who are not like that at all. These are successful people. They're not trying to pick up somebody at a train station. Not I have anything against it, but I don't know. I've never done it. I've never been around a train when I was single, but I'm just saying, I don't like the commercials where you see straight people in a commercial, the wife's cooking up the stuff, the little kid's doing a crayon, and the dad's like sitting there mowing the lawn and she's making the new biscuits. That's so cliche and fucked up. But we get a commercial finally, and in our commercial, we look like we're out partying, chokers, and we're dancing and flashing lights, and we're taking these drugs so we don't get a disease. Really? Let me tell you what, that is so homophobic and so stupid and so what I call misleading to the public, especially those people who are in middle America or anywhere in America. I love you listeners in middle America. I love you. I know who you are. But this, I'm just saying in general, around the world, let's just say that around the world, it's misleading to the people that all gazed, oh, there we go. They finally get a commercial and they're out trying to pick up somebody at a train station and they're out trying to party, you know, but yet they're going to get a drug. And that's our commercial. No, where's the commercial of the puppy dog on the lap with the little kid that, you know, that we could have adopted? You know, where's that commercial? Where's the commercial where I'm mowing the lawn? Or, you know, and my husband is cooking well, it'd be reversed, I guess, but he's cooking the food and the kid is with the crayon. Why not have a commercial like that for the LGBT community? You know what I mean? We get this party atmosphere, which makes people around the world who are just kind of on the fence going, you know, the gays are not so bad. And they finally can get married. And well, I don't really care if they get married, as long as they ain't trying to change me or be with my husband or whatever. Fine. But then they see a commercial like that and they think that that's exactly what branding and what people think of us, that are these suits. Or I could go on forever. You can interrupt me at any time. These suits around a damn board going, we need to make a commercial. We need to have this. We need to have that. We need to do this. Like, let's sell this drug. What's the first thing? Oh, you have a homosexual son. What's he do? Oh, okay. You know, he's 18. He's out partying all the time. No, that's not the way you brand a commercial. I don't think. I mean, I'm so against all that when I read that, or not read it, when I've seen it, it makes me angry. So I just don't think that still in this country, we get a fair shake being who we are, and people want to label us, but it is getting better, I must say. And one thing I've learned is that whenever me and my first partner opened up a salon, and this is where the business side comes from, in 1993, we said to ourselves then, we don't have a company backing us. We don't have health insurance. We don't have this or that. We're doing this ourselves. We're putting our own money into this. So what we're going to do is we're not going to sell out. We're going to be ourselves and we're going to be authentic, but we will be respectful, because, you know, we don't need to sit there and lock lips every time, you know, he was doing hair. No, I had children come in there and I had adults come in there. They trusted us. And we set an example of who we are and what we stand for. And we built our business and we had it for 23 years. Okay. And during those 23 years, we had some of the same team that worked for us 15 years or more. and I've watched them have their own children and do their own thing. So it really comes about how you treat others and how you want to be seen. But yet you don't have to compromise your integrity. You don't have to compromise who you are, but you can be respectful. And in injunction to that, I want to be respected back. So, I mean, I have that's a hot button for me because I'm of course. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, did I go off on a tangent here or what?
I was just reflecting about how, in terms of the advertising you see in the LGBT community and even what people are posting in order to get virality, we're seeing that in order to get the views, we need promiscuity, we need drugs, we need these like different like things so that people watch the ad or they get into it. But then it kind of backfires, right? Because yes, in that very liberal or whatever the word you want to call it, accepting arena, it's seen as empowering to really showcase these things, right, that are prevalent in certain places, right? But then it can backfire when it's seen by other people that are, like you said, on the fence. And I think this kind of goes back to my travels, my experiences with friends who have families or they are from a country where that it is illegal to be gay, punishable by death. If they come out, they can't go back to their home country, right? It's very different than for you and I coming out, right? Then, and the same thing goes for like, it's not really helping the movement for our people in other countries that are now experiencing prejudice when they pull up, like you said, like I had a layover in Qatar in the Middle East, right? It's punishable by death. You can get stoned to death for being gay. And so when I got to Qatar, I did take off all of my jewelry. I was like, I'm not going to be flaunting my sexuality. And also because I am very publicly out, I have no desire to go to Qatar and stay long term, right? Because I don't think it would be safe, because we have to think about our safety. But I think like going back to what you were talking about, like I think that it's the yin and the yang. Like it's important that we live our truth and speak our truth. But then at the same time, I love what you mentioned. It's about respect, right? Give respect and get respect, right? Now, if we don't give respect and understand and come to a common ground, we're not going to typically get it, right? And so I think it's that yin and that yang, and I think it really depends on the situation. But I know in my own life, it's really been about being comfortable in that gray area, and also like knowing that some people will open their minds and change and like embrace this new way of embodying life, like same-sex marriage and all these other things. I've also accepted some people won't change. Some people are stuck in their ways, right? And that's, you have to decide what battles you're going to fight in your life. And I know for me shining bright to everyone out there, being out, shining bright about who I'm dating, like what I'm doing, where I'm going, it's about me shining as a light to that I didn't see, right? When I was growing up, right? I grew up in the 90s. We didn't really have this whole online world as much. We had a little bit of it, but I really do think we live in the best time in human history. And I also wanted to mention, going back to energy, because we were talking about the energy, is like, if you don't work on that energy and that belief in self, it doesn't matter if you are a 10 out of 10 match for that business, that company, that lover, you'll scare them away. And so I think like really, it's really, really critical that we really do that self-work no matter what energies we encounter, right? Because I've seen it in the dating world and beyond, that some people that haven't dealt with those things are very easily triggered, right? They're triggered. Like you say this, you do that, it triggers them. And then a fight breaks out, and it's like, that could easily be ameliorated if we address the root cause of whatever that was. And so I think that's what's so great about when you do the wellness, like what we've been doing, like everyone, like doing the yoga and the mindfulness, the hypnosis, is that you can like reprogram these things. So I did want to ask you more about your wellness journey. And I wanted to also celebrate you, Patrick, in your weight loss journey and on what you've been doing, and segue into that if it's okay. Because a lot of people out there, their number one focus now is getting into their healthiest body, mind. And for a lot of people, that does include getting lean. And I just wanted to hear your story and what worked for you.
Well, a long time ago, and I've made no bones about it, I did have an eating disorder long time ago. And I became like anorexic. And I have all these photos where I am so bone thin because in my head, they call that like a mental disorder. I don't think I'm mental. Well, I'm a little mental, but not all, but who's not? But no, it really is a place where in your mind, because back then we had magazines and TV back in the 80s and 90s before we had social media. It has gone crazy in our world how our visual presence is, So, excuse me, that Fresca, ooh, it's delicious, but I should have drank something flat. But no, the what it is that we are a visual world. And back then, because of being in the entertainment field, I was choreographing for well-known drag queens around here, doing things with debutantes, doing things with a lot of people, and then having my own actual drag, career. And in fact, there's my crown right over here. Where is that at? It's right there. There's my crown that I had. Okay. If you have not noticed, I'm kind of jumping. This is part of my office. This is my history. Everything in here tells a story, by the way. And the entire room is filled this way. But anyway, no, when it comes to that kind of stuff, when you're trying to get to your healthy mind, it's not about, I then was not in a healthy place because I thought, and this is what I need to tell people and let them know, I was not in a healthy place mentally or physically because I thought that I would be more accepted being thinner. And then when you get to that place in the stage in your life, you can't let go of that mental thing. It's probably where it comes as the mental, because you feel like you have to get to a certain look, a certain weight or whatever to be accepted, to be admired, to be loved or whatever. But that is not the case. And what was very important, like in the 60s with a famous model named Twiggy, she was like, she was pencil thin, and every woman then was trying to be like that, and it's unhealthy. And then we had the 90s where the supermodels came into vogue, and the supermodels stayed a tone, flat chested, no ass, completely, whatever, gaunt and white, you had to have this certain look. You had to be just kind of like a walking zombie in a stick. And a lot of people, some people could just deal with that and didn't care. And they were just going to eat those Twinkies anyway. And then you had people that were taking it so seriously because it was so respected and all over the world, and also all over television and videos and MTV and everything. So people had to do that, and they felt the need to do that. So where I got to a place that I started having my own life, what I call hiccups, trials and tribulations in life. You have the ebbs and flows. That's when I started just saying, I don't want to pass out anymore at the shop. And I don't want my friends, and I'm helping a girl, in her debutante ball and waltzing and teaching stuff in a routine. And then she became, involved in the pageant system, and I would do all of her choreography and stuff. I passed out at her home, and her family's like, oh my God, I just wasn't eating. And my partner at the time knew, but he respectfully just had my back and said, you don't need to call an ambulance. He's probably just thirsty and probably eat a carrot. But that was unhealthy. And I want to tell people out there, if you are somewhere that have an eating disorder, if you have something that you're battling with or whatever, do not go to those measures if possible. Find someone that can help you, find someone that can support you, but in the right way, because not everybody has that good, healthy support. They're kind of put off to the side, like Aunt Joan, remember? She's got an eating disorder. I don't want to deal with it. She's on her own. We've tried. I told her to eat her steak, whatever. No, people need love. They need attention. They need affection, and they need your patience, because I was given I had the patience, and that my partner had the patience. And through time, I kind of broke that cycle that was unhealthy. And his family, some of them knew, and they helped me through the recovery process where I didn't have to be hospitalized. I probably could have been, but I was fortunate enough to have, support. And but to answer your question about my journey now, and thank you so much for the compliment. I'm putting it out there, and it's okay if I have a man boob or a little bit of a roll or, an extra donut showing up on my ass, whatever. That's okay because I'm human and I want people. And the reason why I post my weight loss journey and doing those things is because I want people to know that if you are like me, and you're there and you feel insecure and you feel lonely in your thoughts and you want to be attractive, even though you're married or if you're single, no matter what, it doesn't matter if you have someone or not, you want to feel pretty. And when you look in the mirror, sometimes you don't feel secure and you feel trapped in your own body and trapped in your own mind. And the thing is that you don't have to be. And I want, and if, like I said before, I'm getting emotional here. Like I said before, if I can help that one person not feel alone, maybe their husband doesn't recognize it. Maybe the husband's like, oh, you'll get over it, or the spouse or whoever, or if you are alone, you can look and say, it's okay. He's experiencing his thing, he's doing his thing, and if he can be brave enough and have a supportive person or people around him, or actually really about myself, if I'm brave enough and transparent enough to have that and to and to be brave to share that, then maybe I'm helping one person on their journey. But I honestly have gotten so much feedback, Luke, whenever on my social media, I have grown. It seems like within the year with that podcast, my social media people have grown. It's become a big thing. And a lot of people, though, are I get friend requests all the time and I just can't accept them all, and or some of them look, like they're just like, oh my God, I have to be your friend. Please accept my, friend request. I love what you're doing. And I have made my thing social, not social, public. So everybody can kind of do it. If you're my friend or not, you can kind of follow me and kind of see what the journey is and hopefully to be loved and inspired by me. And look, I'm not trying to be a self-professed Gandhi here and change the world, but even, one person can make a difference. And I have had people in my life, I've had a close friend to me a long time ago, it's still a very close friend of mine, has made a difference in my life just by the words that they've shared to me. And I've never publicly said who they were, and I've never said what the advice or any kind of the love that they've given me, because I want to keep that personal. I want to keep it to where it's between us, right? So now social media, it takes a whole new life to things, and I'm using my platform to sit here and to hopefully inspire and influence other people. Do the right thing with your health. If you feel lazy, uninspired, not hopeful, or whatever, am I going to find somebody? Maybe it's because I'm, heavy, or maybe it's because of this or that. Get up off the couch and let's do something together. Contact me and say, I want to, be part of your journey. What are you doing? And like whenever I post recipes or post something I'm eating, or whatever I'm doing, that's only to put out there so it can help other people. It doesn't matter if I get one like on it, 100 or hundreds. It doesn't really matter. What really, really matters is that people are paying attention to it. It's great to have that support. It's great to have the likes or the hearts or the whatevers. that's all great because it shows me that I'm doing the right thing. And it shows me that I am encouraging other people or influencing other people or making a difference in their day just by bringing them a smile, you know? And so that's what I always feel like is my whole thing. And when it comes to weight loss, how I've done it, I just said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to do better. I'm going to exercise. I started posting some exercise stuff in the beginning, but then I thought, no, and it's not about how I look or about how I might, not be doing the exercise actually 100% properly. But I'm not trying to be this. And I know that people get out there and say, I don't want to do Zumba and I don't want to do this whole thing or body groove or these push-ups and all this mess. I don't want to do all that. I don't want to do yoga because I can't do the poses. You probably face this. I can't do the poses. I can't get into position. I can't keep my balance. I don't know namaste compared to sun salutation, all this. I know you know that, and I know you've heard it 1,000 times. But the thing is that those are all just excuses. Just do the movement. And don't worry about the right definition. Don't worry about the name of it if you don't want to. What you need to do is get up off the couch, get out there and do something that's going to make a difference for yourself and for your body. And so how my journey is, I've just been watching what I eat. I have a cheat day every now and then. But I watch what I eat, I exercise, and I try to just, not do so much of the, I'm bad about candy. I mean, you can see my gumball machine right here. Every now and then I'll sneak, did you realize this is a gumball machine?
No. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's got an afro on and some sunglasses. Those are actually Madonna Hart sunglasses from her 2005 Sticky and Sweet tour. But that doesn't matter on this on the Zoom here, But no, I have a story for all of this stuff. But no, honestly, when it comes to health, I take that stuff very seriously. And I lost my first partner. He had passed away years ago. And so when it comes, and also both of my parents and, and other people in my life. So I've had this kind of crazy hiccups in life in this journey. So when it comes to health, and I tell my spouse now, no, we're not going to do this. We're not doing that. I'm very, on him all the time to stay healthy, stay focused, stay with the flow, with me, because I don't want to go through those things of the past and I don't want to bury people I love, and so I'm, just all about health now. And me being 54, I feel like I'm kind of standing up to my age a little bit here, hopefully. And I'm trying to, my goal is to at least live 100, why not? And my grandmother, I forgot, she was over 100 when she passed away. And all my family, a lot of my family on both sides of the family are of old age and older. And so I'm going to be around this earth a little bit longer for everyone. So hopefully,
Absolutely. And we're entering a time when the people that are born now, it's actually going to be the norm to live to be 100. And so how you live your life and living fully, going back to the purpose of all this, is going to change, right? Like we're probably not going to stay in the same job or in the same location for all 100 years doing the same things, right? And the list goes on. So it's been such an honor having you here. And I'm glad that you've been prioritizing yourself. Patrick, any last words of wisdom you would like to offer to your listeners, to the people live and watching the replay?
I tell you what, are you sure you want this last words of wisdom? Because I can stretch it for another 10 minutes. I'm just telling you. No, honestly, somebody said you need to be like a person that stands up and just holds a meeting of some sort. And I'm like, no, that's not fun. I want to, I like to talk and be fun when I have the opportunity and to do it, not because it has to be my job, but honestly, last words of wisdom is just be true to yourself, be happy where you are. And when you encounter people, just accept them for who they are at that moment. You know, don't push anybody away in your life, because people are, and you know, I'm a very spiritual person and I do believe in God and Jesus, but I do want to say this though, and this is what's really important, is that when things happen to your life, that was already in the plan. You know, it's going to happen that way, but you have a choice in your life that you can make, that can make a difference of what your outcome is going to be, you know? So you've got to stay true to you. You've got to stay focused, stay driven, and just share love. And most importantly, be a hero. You know what that means? Yes. Be a hero to someone, inspire people, you know, make a difference. I don't want to be remembered because, you know, I was cute or have a cool office or I did this or that or whatever. No, I want to be remembered for my character. I want to be remembered where people go, that guy was so freaking amazing. He was so happy and he was such a good light. He was a good person. That's what I want people to remember me by, that I wanted to be helpful and I wanted to make a difference and remember, I'm just a little blip underneath the stars, but hopefully I'm making little blips, you know, everywhere for everybody and spreading love and joy. So, but thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Patrick. And I couldn't recommend following Patrick enough. Check out his podcast, Just Curious with Patrick Tremont, and Facebook and Instagram as well. I'll be tagging you. And I hope that you have an amazing day. Thank you, everyone. And if you are watching the replay, write your biggest takeaways below. And if you're listening to the podcast, we'd love to hear your review if you liked it. I hope that you have a wonderful day and perfect afternoon. Take care and see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone.